Hello everyone, my name is Ousainou Sarr and I am a doctoral candidate in Education Administration at Ohio University. And for my presentation today, it's centered on the topic Leadership and Policies for Sustainable Development in the Gambia, Capacity Building Potentials and Limitations. Regarding the background of the study, as indicated, the Sustainable Development Goals are global goals for countries aimed at ending poverty, hunger, ensure equality, and protect the planet. And the central phenomena that drive this study is capacity building. And the elements for this definition are it's about locally driven learning process in organizations, public sector per se, and building about coalitions for better changes in the circumstances or conditions within those organizations in order to attain national goals. And basically a review of public institutions in sub-Saharan Africa identify challenges as inadequate capacity and limited collaboration for sustainability. And the Gambia, using the HDI Human Development Index in 2017 was ranked 174 out of 189 countries. And the problem statement for this study highlights the following. That is, capacity building is hampered by limited resources, institutional support, and also it's been identified that capacity building programs are ranked low due to over-reliance on experts who basically teach how to do things as opposed to new knowledge and limited partnership among institutions of higher learning. Policy documents also reviewed in the Gambia highlights that there is inadequate capacity in its public institutions. Therefore, the purpose of this study is to understand the perspectives of public institutions leaders in the Gambia regarding leadership approaches, policies, and organizational characteristics that foster capacity building programs for sustainable development. And with that being said, the research questions that guided the study are, the central is, how do leaders of public institutions in the Gambia build capacity building partnerships for sustainable development, with sub-questions. One centers on leaders' perceptions regarding partnerships, and the other on how do these leaders prioritize partnership for sustainable development, and again, how do they motivate their staff for collaborative learning. And a brief overview of the research design. This is a qualitative case study that focuses on public institutions in the Gambia and its significance, or the significance of this study, basically through the functions of leadership, policies, and organizational setups or arrangement. How do they contribute to overcoming capacity challenges as indicated earlier on? Also, this study addresses a research gap in the literature, and it provides knowledge on how to address people, environment, and societal issues. And in essence, that's basically policy formulation, implementation, and evaluation. Additionally, the study design is thoroughly explained in order for it to be replicated in other countries. Now, a brief overview of the literature review that was carried out. Capacity building is being established that it correlates with organizational performance, and it supports any reform agenda in organization because it leads to transformative learning. And the two ideal leadership styles for capacity building are transformative and instructional, because both have direct impact on performance in organization. Then the leadership strategy for sustainability were identified as professional development, and it needs to focus on people and institutions and all that should be effectively coordinated. Needs assessment strategies entails identifying what works and what doesn't work, and also grouping what are the human deficiency or incapacity needs, as well as the institutional needs to support the learning process in organization. And motivational strategies, basically they resolve around intrinsic and extrinsic, and innovation strategies through leadership functions were identified as hiring innovators and having the right policy environment, support for research and development, recruitment of talents. And furthermore, policy is significant because it dictates leadership effectiveness in organizations. And for that to occur, for engagement, there needs to be window of opportunity from external players, triggering events, and for policy congruence to occur through the lens of policy stream. Then the localization or contextualization of policy, and this is a rubric for engagement regarding policy. Policy will change, and where those people's voice stand, and all that manifest power divide, considering all actors, global, national, or local actors, and also a model to carry out policy like the classic state model. Organizational characteristics are also important for learning in organizations, and these revolve around systems, be it open or closed system, and structure, whether it's bureaucratic or natural, cultural aspects, and climate are all important factors that dictate learning in organization. And sustainable development, as a discourse, partnership is profound key, as indicated by the National Development Plan for the Gambia and the United Nations, as SDG 17 basically emphasize that. Also, for sustainable development strategies to occur, leadership and capacity building are profound strategies. Sustainable development discourse major takeaways. It's been established that there is limited initiative to address sustainability policy issues, and also there is the need to incorporate education for sustainability for it to be achieved. Now, what led to the conceivement of this study? Basically, the identification of the gap. There is no single study that has holistically looked at the capacity issues as highlighted in this study, and no leadership or policy organizational characteristics that has brought them together in the Gambia as a study. And only 3 capacity building studies were carried out in the Gambia so far, and those centered on non-profit, tourism, public health, implying that there is no study for public institutions, and that's what this study will do. Now, the theoretical framework for this study are 2, the theory of action and dominated theory. And all in all, what they have is there is an internal and external element of organizations, and there is the need for them to interlink so that capacity building can be achieved. Basically, looking at organizational structures and partners who buy into that agenda so that the overall objectives of capacity building can be attained. Now, to a thorough further explanation regarding the methodology of this study, the setting is on Gambian public institutions. As indicated earlier, is a qualitative case study and a pilot for 3 leaders. The recruitment was purposeful. The gatekeeper assisted in identifying other participants through referral, snowballing, and semi-structured was used. Now, what are the findings of this study in terms of potentials for capacity building? 3 themes emerged: justification for partnership, and that was because it's been highlighted that it leads to skill acquisition and it fills in the gap where they are lacking, and also overall it increases productivity. And strategies for prioritizing partnership were identified as the need to share knowledge, creating portfolio knowledge bank of employees, and an evaluation information bank to assist in decision making. And the motivation strategies for collaborative learning and to innovate is that it encourages critical thinking, identify needs or baseline knowledge, and live in the lives of the local people. And then in terms of challenges for capacity building, the challenges were identified as external influence, basically external players influence capacity building as it's been shown there. And then the approach is top-down, inadequate structures and rewards, as you can see in the slide, properly mentioned by those codes. Also, poor coordination, capacity building is poorly coordinated and not always based on merits. Now, therefore, the implications for education and sustainability. The study demonstrates that partnership is key to improve performance, especially in the era of the Sustainable Development Agenda. Therefore, there is the need for continuous learning in organization, which shows there is a synergy between education and sustainability. And this is what this study highlights. Another implication for education and sustainability for this study is that organizational leaders need to embrace collaborative learning. Therefore, it should be a core function among leaders to embrace learning in their organization, so that all actors' hands will be on deck on a common goal to achieve national goals such as the Sustainable Development Agenda. On that note, I thank you very much for your kind attention.